Hey you guys, it's your girl T. So I want to come on here and talk about our favorite R&B singer. He's back in the news. Once again, Chris Brown's house has been invaded. So what went down is that this past week, as we all know, was the ESPYs. And so Chris Brown was doing a pre-ESPY party on Tuesday, and three armed men literally broke into his house. They put a gun to his aunt's head and they forced her inside the closet while they ransacked his home. The crazy part is just the day before this robbery happened, Chris Brown was on Instagram showing off his shoe closet, showing off all this stuff in his house, and once again flossing like most of these celebrities do, and he ended up getting robbed. So a lot of folks are talking about this. They're saying that Chris Brown is silly. First, that strange lady broke into his house earlier last month. You would think that he would have fixed his security by then. Chris Brown is just too comfortable. It's now being reported that these guys who supposedly robbed Chris Brown, they had inside knowledge of his whereabouts and what he was doing. That night he was performing at Argyle nightclub in Hollywood, and they knew that he was going to be paid $50,000. So they assumed that some of that money would be in the house as well. And they also knew that Chris Brown was not scheduled to leave the club until 2 o'clock in the morning. So they feel like it's somebody that Chris Brown knows. Nia, Chris Brown's baby's mother, is also speaking out. They're saying that she went off on Chris Brown, and at this point in time, she does not want Chris Brown to have his daughter over there because she feels like, what if they end up kidnapping royalty? What if they do something to her, hold her for ransom? And I can't be mad at Nia. At the end of the day, she's been the one taking care of this little girl. And if he's not going to do anything about his security and, make his home safer, I personally wouldn't want her there either, And with him taking pictures and flossing on social media, he's inviting trouble in. And I also feel like Chris Brown needs to watch his company. He wants to be such a gang member, hang with gang members. Sometimes gang members are shady towards their own. So some of those same dudes that you're running with and acting like these are your homeboys from childhood when they're not, you just met them when you moved out here in LA. A lot of these same guys may be the ones who are setting up Chris Brown. You just never know. I feel like he needs to be smart about every move that he makes. This is really scary. What if they would have killed his aunt? What if he would have walked in on these people robbing his house and they would have shot and killed him? Regardless if he lives in a gated community or not, a lot of these mansions out here in LA, people can still find ways to sneak into them. People can still find ways to get in. Security is not always 100% safe, but it's a lot better than not having any type of security. He obviously can afford it. If you can have all these Lamborghinis in your driveway, then you need to have top-notch security. A lot of crazy people out here who are just insanely jealous. They don't want to, grind and work and find a way to get their own items. They rather take from other people. So Chris Brown needs to really, really wake up and count his blessings that his auntie was okay and that he wasn't home and nor that his daughter was there, because this could have ended very tragically.
Yeah, good morning. We're still learning about exactly what happened here, but apparently Chris Brown or some of Chris Brown's relatives were the victims of a home invasion robbery here at his home in Tarzana on a street called Citrus Ridge here. This happened around 2 this morning. We do have some pictures to show you of Chris Brown arriving back at the home here this morning, maybe about an hour or so ago. He was not home when the crime took place here. According to the LAPD, his aunt was home. She heard some commotion at the front door of this home. She went to go see what was going on. At that point, 3 armed men, apparently wearing masks, they were armed with handguns, forced their way into the house. They forced her into a closet, so she was locked into a closet for a period of time, and then they ransacked the place, taking cash, an unknown amount of cash, some electronics, and other property, and then they left in a car that we don't have a description of. All we have about them is that it was just 3 armed men. Apparently the aunt was not hurt as a result of all this. She called 911 and the police showed up here, but by then the robbers were long gone. Chris Brown, the singer, has actually been a victim of a similar type of crime. About a couple months ago, an intruder broke into his home. He actually came home and found a woman inside his home, a woman who was naked in his bed, and that was some kind of a stalker who was eventually arrested. That was at a different home. That was at a home in Agoura Hills. This time he wasn't home, and home invasion robbers came in and left with money and other property.
So the whole situation is just really, really unfortunate. I'm just glad that, Chris is okay, his auntie's okay, and nothing really bad happened. But I don't blame Nina for being wary of allowing her daughter to go there if he's not going to put in the proper, measures to make sure that she's safe. So anyways, let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Go ahead and leave a comment. How do you feel about the home invasion that happened at Chris Brown's house? Do you feel like it was an inside job? That these were like definitely people that he knew, who knew his, every move, who knew his whereabouts? And then how do you feel about Nina stating that she does not want royalty to come out to Chris Brown's house anymore due to the second home invasion that he's had in the past few months? And then last but not least, how do you feel about celebrities flossing on Twitter? Do you feel like when they're showing out their shoe closets and showing off their jewelry and their money, that they're inviting trouble to come to their home and they're inviting people to come and try to stick them up? So let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Go ahead and leave a comment. All right. YouTube, it's your girl Lovelyti, and you can show me some love by hitting that subscribe button, watching my previous videos, and following me on social media.